as well in another couple of races. That's why we're going to see him in the World Championship next year.
Third row of the grid. Here is Fadila Aditama, the first of the Indonesian riders on the grid. He's been a regular top 10 runner in his rookie campaign. Effectively full-length races, the kind of race distance that those of you familiar with the World SBK paddock will used to be seeing for Supersport 300 as Hamada stalks his way away from the incident. This time we get to see it, and it's exactly as I suggested, a bit of bumping and boring there in towards turn 10.
Yeah, and it looks like he just might have gotten a bit of a punt from behind and helped into that exit, but for Hamada it's not going to make too much difference. He knows he's down and out, and he's got 3 races left for this weekend.
As I suggested, a bit of bumping and boring there in towards turn 10.
Yeah, and it looks like he just might have gotten a bit of a punt from behind and helped into that exit, but for Hamada it's not going to make too much difference. He knows he's down and out, and he's got 3 races left for this weekend, though 3 races left for the season. The second row of the grid, hit the front nice and early, and he's been able to do a really good job with that in these early stages.
So your race leader pulling away out in front, or attempting to, and we've got Hurley and Dandy there who has gone down, and that looks like being in the
early stages.
So your race leader pulling away out in front, or attempting to, and we've got Hurley and Dandy there who has gone down, and that looks like being in the second sector of lap number 4.
Yeah, it looks like it's down at turn 7 just before you come to those here. Yeah, keep an eye on the number 21, just runs wide through those last couple of corners. You can see fairly high curbs there on the entry to that corner as well, and then gets caught out just trying to get the gas a little bit too early, and that's what costs him his chance of being in that leading group. He's dropped down 2 seconds behind the race leader, and you can see here with the race leader for Asado, he's also taken advantage of that to try and up his pace. He's down to low 1 minute 45s, which is pretty much about as fast as we've seen from him all the way through this race, and that's why we're seeing the leading group start to really fracture out.
And that's why we're seeing the live championship standings as well, because if Sharil were to finish down in 6th position, Furusato could potentially extend his lead to 48 points. Might be about to gain a position here because we've seen Thompson running wide. Hongo moves in front of him into 4th position. Sharil with an opportunity. This is where we find out what Daniel Sharil is able to, that toe from Furusato, because if he gets in front of the 2 riders directly in his path here, he's going to have something like a second to cover to 3rd position.
Yeah, still going to have a bit of ground to make up in that position, and that looks like well, another rider's gone down. It looks like it's down at turn 10, and we've seen a bit of action down there all the way through the running so far.
I think that's to Timon, who has gone down on lap 8 of 16. So the Thai rider who was on the fringes of the points, who was in that 5-way battle, and we're going to see the incident perhaps here, and it's going to be 2 riders involved. That's a straightforward situation of to Timon, who has gone down and collected to Raki Buapa, I think that is, who was alongside him, and he has now remounted to continue on in the race, but clearly out of contention when you're in a pack race like that one. And that group has now become a 6-rider group instead of the 8 or so who were all involved.
Yeah, it is starting to split up a little bit, and the reason for that is you've got to try and make those attacks, and you can see there for both of those riders.
0.6 of a second now, the gap to bridge for Daniel Sharil. A new personal best for Sharil last time around. He's just come across the line. That's Hongo who's gone down, coming off the final turn. So Hongo, who was one of the riders in the 4 riders, the quartet chasing 3rd position, he's gone down spectacularly there, coming off the final turn.
Yeah, looks like a bit of gravel pushed onto the track as well in the exit there, the last corner, but that's a shame for Hongo. But we've seen that obviously in that second part of the group, the riders have to push on because they're seeing it start to split out, and yeah, he just runs out onto the green paint, and there is that bit of a kick off the curb there for him. You can see there the
level of the curve certainly different to the level of the track and the asphalt surface around the curve. I was saying earlier on, Steve, when we were watching free practice in Superbikes, we saw Jonathan Ray at one point come down off a curb and get all unsettled by it. These curves do seem to be particularly high here in Indonesia. This is a new on to the final sector as we switch back to the battles further down the order. Well, they've switched at just the right time. Dale making a lunge down the inside. I think that might have been of Aditama. and both of them have gone down and into the gravel trap. And Aditama looks none too pleased with Deo there after that ambitious move down the inside. Another incident at turn 10.
Yeah, and for Aditama, that was out of 6th position and on course for a really good performance here in his home round. See Carter Thompson then making a move through the fast right-handers at the end of the lap.
And this will be for 4th position as Hakim Denish loses a place. Carter Thompson then through back into P4. These two have been swapping and changing. I suspect that if we'd been watching just that battle, we would have seen another 100 of those overtaking manoeuvres. We're now on to the penultimate lap of the race for the leaders. For Osato, 0.4 of a second up ahead of Sharil, who's got in front of Mie and made a 0.3 of a second advantage.
Yeah, and you can see there Aditama there on the number 3 going down, and again, like you said, Alex, another move into turn 10. It's easy to be a little bit ambitious on the run into there, and front of the field though, for Sadis doing a good job now just to keep that lead at around about 0.3 of a second. Sharil's digging in. Last time around in the final sector, he did close back to within a couple of tenths of a second, but it's really difficult to try and close that gap then in Furusato.
And haven't we seen that already in 2021 in the Asia Talent Cup? Furusato happy to lead at the front of the field, happy to try and break his rivals for pure pace, not too worried about the slipstream advantage that's given to the riders behind him, because he knows he's got an inherent pace advantage. He wasn't able to show it in qualifying here a week ago, but thanks to the free practice sessions as well earlier on today, he's clearly got to grips with this 4.3 kilometre Mandalika International Circuit, our first ever race here around this venue, and it's in the Asia Talent Cup. But it looks like the one thing that hasn't changed is our race leader. Furusato out in front, looking set to extend his series lead.
Yeah, Sharil's doing a good job in this lap though, holding with him, and he's a 1/10 of a second faster so far, but the clock is winding down all the way. It's really important now for Sharil to get close enough to try and attack into turn 1.
It's looking as though it's going to be the same top 2 for 3 races in a row. We had this finishing order between Furusato and Daniel Sharil in both of the races at the Doha Grand Prix. Furusato has had only 1 finishing position in 2021, and they've all been worth 25 championship points. Sharil then 2/10 further down, and we've got a fall, and is that Denish? Yes, it is. It's Denish who's gone down in his fight with Carter Thompson. Last time over the line, he was in front, I think, of Thompson in the battle for 4th place. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, keep an eye in the background, and you're going to see for Denish, just tries to be a little bit aggressive through that last corner, trying to make sure he's able to close up on Carter Thompson to set up a move on the final lap, and just on the machinery.
Yes, now look at the leaders, a 1/10 of a second between them on this final lap. Sharil has managed to find something a little bit special, a little bit extra. He was stuck down in 6th position at one stage. He's fought his way through onto the tail of Furusato. Furusato still unbeaten in 2021. Daniel Sharil might be about to have a go at stopping that from being the scenario. They make their way now in towards turn 10. This has been an action hotspot all race long. It's been an incident hotspot all race long as well. Furusato there defending to the inside. It's going to be single file through here. Turns 11 and 12 in towards the final sector. Sharil chooses now down the inside into 12. Catches Furusato by surprise. Opportunity for Furusato on the number 15 here to make a recovery in similar fashion as they come off 13 and 14. What about a lunge into turn 16, the slowest corner on the circuit? Daniel Sharil looking for his first race victory since his return to the Asia Talent Cup. He was last a winner in Thailand 2018. He's fighting for the lead here against Furusato, the championship leader, who goes soaring around the outside bravely. 2 turns to go, 16 and now 17. They come through the left-hander, and it's Furusato who once again leads. It is Taiyo Furusato of Japan to make it 5 wins out of 5, and the inaugural race victory at the Mandalika International Circuit goes to Taiyo Furusato. The first time this season that he's been off pole position, the first time he's ever been off pole position in the Asia Talent Cup, but he doesn't disappoint. He comes through to the front. He leads almost throughout. Daniel Sharil was disappointed with that, shaking his head in his hands practically as he made his way back in towards turn number 1. Sharil's second best, but only by 2/10 of a second. That's 3 races in a row now where he's tried to give Furusato a real run for his money. Gunmie with his 3rd podium finish of this 2021 campaign, 2nd time that he's finished in P3. Carter Thompson, an isolated 4th position in the end after late drama for Hakim Denish. So it does look as though we're only going to have 14 finishers to this race. I think I cursed it earlier on when I said that there hadn't been that many retirements in the Asia Talent Cup in 2021. And that means that Fadilla on the Raycat Fadilla, making his debut in the Asia Talent Cup, is a strong performer, the Indonesian rider, with P5 ahead of Herjan Firdaus, who takes P6, and Sharil, Pratama, Fujita and Buapa eventually remounting to come home for 10th place. So a bit of wacky races at times, but the one thing that was, as we might have anticipated before the lights went out, a fine victory that from Furusato, bold around that final sector in particular.
Yeah, Furusato coming through from the second row.
Last 2.5 laps and eventually finishes 1.4 seconds down, but he was able to take the fight to Furusato until, well, the first 13, 14 laps, frankly, on the number 5, and we saw him fighting his way through at one stage to hit the front as well, tried to unsettle Furusato, but he is a cool head, is the youngster, just 16 years of age, your race winner. Second place going the way of Daniel Sharil, and your race winner, the number 15 of Tayo Furusato. Second place, and the trophy being given to Daniel Sharil. It's a second place in a row, so he's only lost 15 points over the last 3 races. The majority of the deficit comes from the opening 2 of the season, and Daniel Sharil, number 21, finished in 7th position and 6th in the opening 2 rounds of his return, his comeback event, effectively, the Qatar Grand Prix. Gap then is 46 points. Furusato, once again, your race winner.
Congratulations then to our top 3. If we can ask the top 3 now.
Your race 1 winner is Tayo Furusato, just as he has been in the opening 4 races of this 2021 campaign. We're into the second half now of the Asia Talent Cup season, with 3 races still to go. And as far as those point standings are concerned, well, everyone else is getting perilously close to being involved in a fight for second position, because Furusato is only 1 more race victory away from sealing the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah, and it's in his hands for the opening race of tomorrow as well, so we'll see if he's able to get across the line and claim that championship.
Tayo Furusato is your race 1 winner here at the Indonesian round 3 of the 2021 Asia Talent Cup. 0.2 of a second his winning margin over Daniel Sharil after a bold last lap outside overtake through turns 15 and 16 to recover the lead from Sharil, who'd fought his way through. Gunmie taking best of the rest, P3 for him. He was at one stage a race leader. Only 14 finishers. Good to see some Indonesian riders in the points here today as well, including Raycat Fadilla on his debut in the Asia Talent Cup, coming home for P5, and he looked very satisfied with that, and I think it was almost as if he had earned a podium here today. Plenty of retirements, as we said, 7 of them in total, and the most relevant in the context of the championship was Hakim Danish. Now, Danish, who was a podium finisher in 3 of the opening 4 races of this season, was tied with Gunmie in the championship standings for 3rd overall, and he is the rider who drops back as Carter Thompson makes progress into 4th in the standings. Your top 3 in race 1 here at the Indonesian round, your top 3 in the championship. Furusato leading the way on 125.46 up on Daniel Sharil, 2nd on 79, and Gunmie 3rd on 73. A victory here tomorrow for Tayo Furusato, and he will have claimed the Asia Talent Cup for 2021. But Sharil and Mie, who were on the podium today, will hope to have another go. And remember, again, Tayo Furusato will have to start from 6th position for race 2 tomorrow morning. A separate qualifying will take place tomorrow morning as well, that will determine the grid for races 3 and 4 of the weekend, which is round 4 of the 2021 Asia Talent Cup. Still here in Indonesia, of course, 4 races in 4 days.